Georgia State Patrol issues an apology after a Houston County man says he received a ticket he did not deserve. The video is making its way around social media, garnishing thousands of views. The driver is now speaking up about the incident. 41 NBC's Fiona King spoke with him and has more.
I felt unsafe from the police.
On Wednesday, Lawrence Dixon had a typical day, dropping his son off in the morning and working as an Uber driver. But his afternoon was suddenly interrupted by the sounds of police sirens.
I had a passenger with me. I was using my GPS to get to the location that I was going to. Never once had my phone in my hand.
Dixon was pulled over at Watson Boulevard and Houston Road in Houston County. Dixon mentioned his phone was on his phone mount during the entire ride. His dash cam also recorded all angles of his Uber ride. On Wednesday, there was heightened police presence due to the Thunder Task Force operation, where the Warner Robins Police Department and the Governor's Office of Highway Safety stopped drivers at undisclosed checkpoints. Most of their focus was on those speeding, driving under the influence, or not wearing seatbelts.
I just thought to myself, like, hey, I'm under compliance. You know, I have my license, I have my insurance, work hard for these things. I'm like, as long as I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, you know, I don't feel like I should be pulled over. And as soon as I said that or thought that, that's when I got pulled over.
His initial thoughts once he realized he was being pulled over.
It's unbelievable. Like, I knew he must be trying to stop somebody else other than me. We were at the red light and we were the first to go. So I knew we weren't speeding. I knew I didn't commit any crimes, so it was unbelievable.
Dixon expressed various emotions about the incident, but mostly he says he felt unsafe.
As long as they have the operation going on, even though I know I'm in compliance, of course, I felt like that was going to be a reoccurring thing. They were pulling over multiple cars, one after another, and they lied.
He believes the Georgia State Patrol troopers should face disciplinary action.
Very aggressive, and you don't feel like you could really approach them or talk to them. You know, he was shut down right away and didn't take time to listen.
Dixon says he received a phone call Wednesday night from the Georgia Department of Public Safety apologizing for the incident. The representative told Dixon he'd seen the video online and would be tossing out the ticket. I also reached out to the Georgia Department of Public Safety to confirm what had happened. They released a statement saying, "When a matter regarding one of our troopers is brought to our attention, we take it seriously." Mr. Dixon was contacted directly yesterday by Georgia State Patrol personnel. After further investigation into the incident, the charge against Mr. Dixon was dismissed. Dixon says he had prepared for a situation like this.
Protect yourself as much as possible. Always have license, have your insurance, have your documents together, and also have dash cam footage of what's going on, because you never know.
In Warner Robins, Fiona King, 41 NBC News.
Thunder Task Force runs until Sunday morning.
A chain reaction crash in a busy Akron neighborhood. The driver at fault? An Akron police officer in a cruiser.
Somebody hit 4 cars on the street, and my car was one of the cars.
An investigation revealed the officer violated department policy. But he's not paying the victims for the damage done to their cars, and neither is the city.
If cops smashed into the cars, I feel like the cops should just be paying right now.
News 5's Bob Jones first told us about this in October. He's following through tonight with new video from inside the cruiser showing what happened and the frustration that lingers 3 months later.
Cruiser video from last October captured the chaos in Highland Square. 2 Akron police officers going at a high rate of speed on West Market Street on their way to a burglary call. The officer behind the wheel swerves to avoid a car making a U-turn and then smashes into a parked car.
23. He's got a signal 8.
The impact injured the officers and set off a chain reaction crash, damaging 3 other parked cars, including Stephen Rockich's Mazda.
I could not believe my eyes, man. I was just like, what the heck?
Stephen's car, which was paid off, now totaled, and without personal collision insurance, he was stuck with the bills on top of the aggravation.
The towing that I had to pay out of pocket was over $600, and then my car was worth over $5,000. So that's all out the window, just smashed.
Investigations revealed revealed the officer was at fault and was responding with overhead lights but didn't activate sirens until that other car was spotted making a U-turn. The city says the officer violated policy and is in the pre-disciplinary process.
You can't just, slap on the wrist, oh, bad job, you know what I mean? That's not enough.
Stephen expected the city would pay for the damages to his car, but
I'm just blown away.
He hasn't received a penny.
And they said that they're not going to pay anything for what just happened because it's full immunity.
In a statement from the mayor's office, Akron confirms the city's insurance provider has denied claims in this incident based on immunity. The statement also says, however, the conversations internally remain ongoing and the matter is still open. University of Akron law professor Michael Gentithis says in most cases, state statute in Ohio provides immunity to officers who cause crashes while on the job, immunity that can extend to their employers, in this case, the city of Akron.
And the immunity covers at least negligent conduct by the officers. But if the officer's conduct was willful and wanton, it might amount to liability.
Gentithis says the argument for immunity is to prevent officers from worrying about liability.
We don't want officers hesitating to respond in emergency circumstances. We want them to do their jobs.
I understand they need to do their job, but the city needs to be accountable for that and actually pay for the damages that they cause.
Because of what happened, Stephen had to buy a new car and has $300 a month payments. He hopes the city will reconsider paying him for some of the money he lost.
I hope the city just actually can have a heart.
Good morning and welcome to the Bad Apple Report. It's 7:30 a.m. bright and early right here at home on the range. Thank you so much for being here today, folks. I really appreciate it, especially if you're one of these folks that are here every day. I really, really appreciate it. And you know what? If you watch the show and you like the show, which by the way, if you watch the show and you don't like the show, that might mean that you're a dum-dum, a knucklehead, and a goofball and a retard, possibly. That's true, I said it. All right. And you know why? Because time is important. Your time is important. That's why I wanted to take this time to thank you for watching the Bad Apple Report, those of you who like the show. And I want you to know that if you like the show, you have the people in the comments below to thank, because they actually keep me going. I feel like I know everybody in the comments below, and I do this for them. But I thank you for watching the show. Thank you for hitting the thumbs up. And especially thank you for leaving comments. Oh, and by the way, those two people that hit the thumbs down every day, you're goofball, knucklehead retards. Because seriously, life is short. Why would you waste your time watching the Bad Apple Report every day if you don't like it? Okay, but I know exactly who you are, so it's okay. You can keep doing it. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. Now we're going to move on with the show.
This is Tarrant County Sheriff's investigators and crime scene workers on their way back into a house after a deadly shooting. It happened in Haltom City on Twin Oaks Drive as deputies served a warrant for 19-year-old Christopher Guerrero, identified by his family.
It was a mental health warrant.
Jorge Guerrero says he asked the judge for a warrant because for a week and a half, his brother Christopher was in a mental health crisis.
He locked himself in his room. He wasn't eating. He was saying that his food was poisoned. He doesn't trust anybody. He was very paranoid.
Now, Jorge and his family want answers about how his brother ended up dead, especially since Friday morning, he says a deputy explained the warrant process over the phone before they arrived.
They said that if he did get aggressive, they were going to put him in cuffs and take him. But he told me that was going to be the last straw.
Jorge says while outside with his mother during the warrant, they heard gunfire.
My name is Jennifer Gabbert, Chief Deputy with the Tarrant County Sheriff's Office.
Here's what the Sheriff's Office says happened after they arrived at Guerrero's home.
Warrant deputies attempted to serve a warrant at a location. Suspect was armed with a knife. An altercation occurred. The deputy was injured and the suspect is deceased.
The deputy went to the hospital for a non-life-threatening injury. Jorge says all he wanted was for deputies to take his brother to the hospital for help with his mental health.
And not only were they just deputies, they were specialists on mental health. They're the ones that served the warrant.
And just never expected him to end up dead. In Tarrant County, I'm Scoop Jefferson.
You're still here after that rant in the monologue? Oh, thank you so much. You guys are awesome. Now, seriously, it's almost like we're survivors here. You know what I mean? Enduring these bad apples together. The cops don't like it. The parent company don't like it. The fact that we're all Democrats, Republicans, black, white, everything. We're all together. That's awesome. Because none of us like this guy, this Pueblo PD officer who's been arrested by the FBI for sexual exploitation of a child. Nobody likes this guy. Not even nobody. Look at this fat head. Pueblo, Colorado, the Pueblo Police Department, PPD, announced Friday that now former officer has been arrested by the FBI in partnership with the Colorado Springs Police Department. They partnered up and they got themselves a bad guy right under their noses. On a charge of sexual exploitation of a child, possessing and distributing Class 3 felony. You're in trouble, buddy. According to the PPD, upon notification of Mejia's arrest, an internal affairs investigation was launched and he was placed on administrative leave pending the outcome of the investigation. This action is in line with the due process procedures of the blah, 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 and we're glad about that. Fantastic. The PPD said Geraldo Mejia resigned while under investigation. Come on, Geraldo. Dummy. On the day of his arrest. Okay, he was quick to do it too. Look at that. He was an officer with the department for 2 years. Pueblo Police Chief Chris Noel released the following statement. I'm not reading it. Not reading it. Okay, you guys are awesome. Look at that. And that's why we're all together right here at the Bad Apple Report. Thanks a lot. Let's move on.
Ohio State Highway Trooper now charged with a sex crime involving a minor, and only 10 TV cameras were in that courtroom as Anthony Pagan faced a judge. We just checked, and Pagan has already posted bond and is out of jail. But here's what we know from court records today. Heath police say they received a cyber tip in December from the Ohio Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force that a known child sex abuse photo had been uploaded to a Dropbox account back in August. Investigators found that Dropbox belonged to Pagan, and yesterday Heath police, along with the Franklin County ICAC team, searched the trooper's home. Court records show Pagan admitted he downloaded the materials from that account and viewed them. He joined the patrol back in 2023 and was based out of the Granville Post.
Captain is behind bars tonight, accused of possessing hundreds of images and videos of child pornography. News Channel 8's Georgia MacArthur joins us live from outside the Hillsborough County Courthouse, where this suspect appeared before a judge this afternoon. Georgia.
Josh, and for years, Captain Marshall Nelson was considered a trusted leader within Hillsborough County Fire Rescue. Tonight, he's in jail facing disturbing charges of possessing child pornography.
We're here for Marshall Nelson.
Marshall Nelson stood silent in a blue vest as the charges against him were read. More than 100 felony counts tied to child pornography. Investigators say they located several electronic devices in the Hillsborough County Fire Captain's home on Thursday. Devices that allegedly held over 300 images and videos of child sexual abuse material.
You're to have no electronic devices while you're in jail that can transmit, receive messages, images, or video.
Nelson's attorney asked for bond, the judge taking off the likely amount for each count.
On counts 1 through 100, in the amount of $7,500 each, I'm going to set bond in the count 101, which is the third-degree felony, in the amount of $5,000.
The judge set bond at just over $750,000 and made it clear if Nelson is released until trial, he'll be under strict supervision.
If you're able to post bond, you're going to be placed on a private GPS monitor. You're to remain in Hillsborough County. You're not allowed to leave the jurisdiction of Hillsborough County.
We went to Nelson's home for a comment, but nobody answered the door. But the news of his arrest shocked neighbors in his Riverview neighborhood.
It's sad and it's scary.
Yulie Miner says she knew Nelson and his family and described him as a nice guy during her encounters.
We never know who around us, unfortunately.
Bianca Granberry was arrested this morning. Now, the Shelby County Sheriff's Office says the charges stem from an inappropriate relationship with an inmate named Martavius Williams.
We spent an extensive amount of time talking about public trust. But Ms. Granberry chose to go a different route.
On November 13, 2024, jail investigators uncovered evidence that showed Granberry had an inappropriate relationship with inmate Williams. According to investigators, Granberry knew he had a cell phone while he was detained and would video chat Williams when she was off work. Chief Deputy Buckner says she used that form of communication to coordinate money transactions with Williams and his family and friends. Contraband was also found inside the inmate's cell.
But then we also found 2 small bags of marijuana, one that was tucked inside clothing within the cell, but then another small bag of marijuana that was being hidden inside of a Lucky Charms bag. And we weighed both of those bags, and it weighed about 66.7 grams.
A stabbing weapon was also found in Williams' cell. Right now, investigators are working to find out how the contraband was entered inside the jail. Granberry is not the only one facing charges. Williams and his cellmate, Malik Williams, are both charged with 3 counts of introducing contraband into a penal institution. Martavius Williams is also charged with bribery of a public servant. One of the things Chief Deputy Buckner reiterated is that correctional deputies have a duty to protect and serve.
We view corrections deputies as protectors and not predators. And so it's disappointing that the same person who was patrolling the hallways of the Shelby County Jail now find themselves on the other side of the law, behind bars.
Now, Granberry is on administrative leave without pay. Right now, she's booked into 201 Poplar with a $15,000 bond. Now, this is an ongoing investigation, so there could be others charged depending on their involvement in these alleged crimes. Reporting live from 201 Poplar for your news leader, Raven Copeland, WREG News Channel 3.
There's breaking news out of San Diego, where a San Diego County Sheriff's deputy is charged for alleged excessive force and false report. A San Diego County Sheriff's deputy has been charged by federal prosecutors for allegedly using excessive force on a man in pretrial custody and writing a false report in order to cover up what happened. It was announced Friday. Jeremiah Manayang Flores, age 44, is accused of shoving the victim into the bench and walls of a holding cell last year, causing the man to suffer a head wound and a spinal injury that required surgery and led to months of hospitalization, according to the U.S. Attorney's Office. One of those guys. Okay, prosecutors said Flores was assigned to the Court Services Bureau at San Diego Central Courthouse at the time. He has been with the Sheriff's Office since November of 2021 and a deputy sheriff since February of 2023, according to a statement released Friday by the Sheriff's Department. San Diego County Sheriff Kelly Martinez said that following an investigation, Flores was placed on administrative assignment. Okay, the investigation led us to believe the criminal actions occurred, and we presented the case to the state and the federal authorities, according to Martinez. And he also said that the actions described in this case are unacceptable. Well, really? Thanks for letting us know that. On August 29th, Flores was escorting the victim, 57-year-old man identified as JP, whose hands and legs were in chains. At the open door of the holding cell, Flores allegedly shoved JP inside. The impact sent the victim to the ground, and another deputy found him still on the ground in the same position more than 2 hours later, according to prosecutors. After the incident, Flores allegedly claimed in a report that no force was used and violated Sheriff's Department policies by not preparing an official report or immediately reporting what happened to his supervisor, the U.S. Office of Attorney said. Okay, Flores is charged in an indictment with deprivation of rights under the color of law, and that's going to be a big one, buddy. Okay? Flores, you should be watching the Bad Apple Report to see what's going to happen to you. Okay, falsification of records in the federal investigation. He pleaded not guilty to both counts and is due in court on Friday. Flores is out on custody of a $25,000 bond. Hello, Flores. Welcome to the Bad Apple Report, buddy. We're going to see a lot of you, I think. All right, but he must abide by the conditions that include surrender his passport and firearms. Well, okay, 44 years old, in big trouble now. Flores. On with the show.
Now, another top story for you tonight, a big development in the Jamey Noel case. The Indiana State Board of Accounts has done a new audit on Noel's former fire department and has now ordered him to repay over $760,000. Our Focus Team reporter Travis Breeze just found out this new information moments ago. And Travis, how did this audit come about? And is this on top of what he already owes back to taxpayers in Clark County?
That's $760,000. It hasn't been officially ordered yet, so I wouldn't say it's officially on top of anything at this point. But as far as how this audit came about, the head of the Utica Township Fire Protection District says he doesn't know who called for this audit, but it is regarding concerns that he has brought up in the past. This audit was just released on Wednesday. The State Board of Accounts accuses Jamey Noel of taking fire trucks owned by the fire district, selling them to a company in Alabama, and then depositing the funds into the ambulance side of his company, not the fire side. And the fire district did not get a full reimbursement. The total theft is at $385,000. Joe Jarls, the new head of the Fire Protection District, first raised these concerns in late August.
Well, none of it makes me happy. I mean, I want the taxpayers to be reimbursed for the theft. And whatever, however that has to happen, then obviously that's what we want to happen. I mean, my goal is not to add additional years to Jamey's.
Noel is also asked to repay $255,000 in contracts that went to the wrong bank accounts and $120,000 for the cost of the investigation. The last time we had a State Board of Accounts audit, it was not enforceable until the Attorney General's office used that report to form a lawsuit.
Okie dokie. Former Oconee County deputy accused of bringing contraband into the facility. Don't she know? Nobody wants to hear that. It riles everybody up. Bring in some easy listening, honey. Okay, Oconee. That was just for you, Anon Mouse. Oconee County, South Carolina. A former Oconee County Detention Center deputy is facing, says charging, but they mean charges after she was accused of bringing contraband into the facility. Banjos and all. The Oconee County Sheriff's Office said they conducted an investigation 2 weeks prior to her arrest after receiving information that 34-year-old Sarah Joyce Powell is her name. She was furnishing contraband to the Oconee County Detention Center. Not good, Sarah. Okay. The investigation determined that she has been distributing contraband to inmates inside the jail between August 2024 and January 2025. Powell was booked in the Oconee County Detention Center on misconduct in office and furnishing contraband charges. She was hired as a detention officer on August 15th, 2022, but was fired Thursday, January 30th, before her arrest. She was released from jail on Friday morning on a $20,000 personal recognizance bond, and she may be watching the Bad Apple Report. Okay, Sarah. Oh, Sarah. Okay. Let's move on with the show.
A new development in New York City's corruption allegations against city officials. A former fire department chief pleaded guilty to conspiracy, admitting that he and others agreed to accept nearly $200,000 in bribes to speed up safety inspections. Anthony Saccavino, who was the head of the department's Bureau of Fire Prevention, entered the plea in Manhattan federal court Wednesday. Saccavino and Brian Cordasco, another high-ranking fire prevention chief, are accused of creating a VIP lane for faster service by the Fire Inspection Bureau that can only be accessed with bribes. Federal officials raided their homes in February 2024, and the two were indicted in September. The indictment accuses the chiefs of joining former firefighter-turned-businessman Henry Santiago Jr.'s fire safety company as secret partners in 2021. Prosecutors say Santiago promised his clients high-end restaurant visits and hotel stays, offering his conspirators a cut of the money for fast-tracking the permit process, totaling $190,000 in bribes over 2 years. According to the indictment, he delivered the bribe payments over steakhouse dinners and at the Fire Prevention Bureau's Brooklyn office. Santiago pleaded guilty to a conspiracy charge in September. Cordasco also pleaded guilty just 3 weeks after his arrest. Both Cordasco and Saccavino's charges carry a maximum sentence of 5 years in prison. Saccavino entered his guilty plea as part of a plea agreement of $57,000, the total of payments he personally received during the 2 years. Saccavino's sentencing is scheduled for May, while Cordasco's sentencing is scheduled for March.
And that's going to do it for the Bad Apple Report today. Thank you so much for being here and letting me redress my grievances. I don't know if I was redressing my grievances. I don't know what I was doing. I was just kind of, hey, I do this every day, you guys. I got to blow off a little steam every once in a while. And I want to especially thank those of you who keep me going. And those of you who don't like what I do, I apologize. Just stick around. You'll get used to me, okay? All right. You guys are awesome. And we'll see you tomorrow morning at 7:30 a.m. bright and early. Have a great day.